Hello, everybody. Welcome as you come in. I am Shelly Granager. For those of you who haven't seen me before, I work with our alumni here at CARA, the Center for Alumni Relations and Advancement. I just want to tell you a little bit about what's been happening on campus lately. We've had, it's been beautiful. A couple weekends ago was family weekend with a football weekend where parents came out and hung out with their kids and had a really great football game. And I know we have a football game coming up this weekend. So for all of you that are visiting or locally, please come out and join us at our tailgate. It's at the third ramp. Our volleyball team is doing very well. So if you get a chance, get out there and cheer on those hard rocking ladies. They're rocking it, and hopefully we'll go to championship this year. Also, that's things that have been happening on campus is we had our Innovation Expo here a couple weeks ago. We have a really strong entrepreneurship group on campus, both through CARA, through us, and also through classes on campus. And then the president office does quite a few things too. So a lot of fun things are happening on campus. And if you haven't been back, we definitely want you to come back sometime and check out a lot of new things. Today we have our Civil and Environmental Engineering Department. So Dr. Stone will be presenting. He's going to have good videos, or good pictures, I should say, of new areas in the Civil Department. So I'm excited for you to see that. Well, as everyone is hopping in, I just want to encourage you guys to use the chat function to let everyone know that you're here. Let us know the degree you got with South Dakota Mines. And then if you were a veteran, let us know how and when you served. We'd love to do that because we have Veterans Day coming up next week. So I want to thank all of our veterans on this group. Make sure that when you use that chat function, you switch your responses to all attendees so we can all see it. And if you have any questions for our presenter, Dr. Stone, today, or for our students, please put those in the Q&A section. And at the end of the presentation, we'll give him a chance to answer those. I will start off our chat today with my email. So please reach out to me anytime. I'd love to hear about what else you want to hear about on campus. I'd like to hear about what you want to see happen in your community for alumni events, or just to hear how you're doing. Yesterday, all of you got our e-news. For those of you that have the question of, Shelly, you had a great spotlight, but I couldn't hit that extra link. That is something with our server. We're getting it fixed and going to get that resent out to you so that you will be able to read that full alumni spotlight, because we have some amazing alums. All right, so today I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Jim Stone. He's the current head of Civil and Environmental Engineering Department. Dr. Stone joined South Dakota Mines in 2003 after completing his PhD and postdoctoral studies at Penn State, where he investigated biochemical interactions within contaminated subsurface environments. His postdoctoral research focused on the effects of natural organic material on the biological reduction of uranium-contaminated groundwaters. Dr. Stone completed his bachelor's in civil engineering and master's degree in environmental engineering from Virginia Tech. Between his studies at Virginia Tech and Penn State, he worked as an environmental consultant for 5 years, where he designed environmental remediation systems for water, wastewater, and hazardous waste applications. Dr. Stone has taught a wide range of engineering courses at South Dakota Mines at both the graduate and undergraduate level. He continues to strive to provide South Dakota Mines environmental-focused students with relevant real-world case studies and assignments to better prepare them to handle tomorrow's complex environmental problems, in addition to developing new courses that broaden their environmental and sustainable knowledge base. With that, I turn it over to you, Dr. Stone.
Thank you, Shelly, and welcome everybody. So again, I'm Jim Stone, department head here in Civil and Environmental Engineering. And so got a slideshow, but just as a little introduction, let's see if I can share my screen. Screen one, share. Oops, and let's pull this up. Okay, so just welcome everybody. Here we are for Civil and Environmental Engineering here at South Dakota Mines. And so here's a snapshot of our faculty, our current faculty that we have in our departments. We've got a lot of different expertise, some older faces, some newer faces. So there's been, a lot of folks have retired out. Those of you might know Tom Fontaine and M.R. Hansen, Scott Kenner. So they have retired. We still have Lois here. So Lois does all our first and second year student advising. And a new hire, Jungcham Kim, he just started this fall semester. But this is who we are currently at the School of Mines. So with this, I've got a couple student presenters that are here. Let me stop sharing this in slideshow. And so a couple student presenters. And I think we'll start with Ben Lewis is going to talk a little bit about concrete canoes. So let me see if I can stop my share here. You share. I'll share. Stop share. There it is. Stop share. Ben, you ready?
I think so. So let me go ahead and pull my screen up.
Yeah, pull your screen up.
Yeah. Awesome. We're able to see that all right?
Yep, you can see it.
Fantastic. All right, well, I'll go ahead and take a second to introduce myself to everyone. My name's Ben Lewis. I am the 2023 Concrete Canoe Captain here at Mines. This year, I'm the mixed design lead for our Concrete Canoe team. And today I want to take some time to walk everyone through what the Concrete Canoe team is on campus, if you haven't heard it before. A little bit about our history and what we do as a team and what we're looking forward to in the future. And if you're interested in helping out the team, how you are able to help out, because we're always interested in having alumni present and helping out on the team, and really anyone else as well. If you're with a business or a company or anyone else that's interested in helping out the canoe team. So I'll go ahead and start out by just talking about what is Concrete Canoe. So we're a student chapter of National ASC, and it's a national competition that's hosted by ASC every single year. So the official name of our team is the South Dakota Mines Concrete Canoe Team. And every single year we design, build, and race and compete in a canoe made entirely of concrete. We've been making canoes since 1979. I haven't met any alumni from this particular team back when they were making canoes before it was a competition, but this is the oldest picture that we do have of a concrete canoe on campus. More recently, in 1995, we were the national champions of the entire national concrete canoe competition. I have met alumni that are from this year, and it's awesome to meet people that are actually from this year and still come back to give advice and show up to symposiums and presentations to tell us about concrete canoe and what it's been like over the last 3 decades and how it's changed. And then even more recently than that, in 2017, we placed 3rd place nationally with our canoe named Olympus. So this canoe is now hanging up in the CARE building, in the alumni building on campus. So I've got one technical slide that I wanted to roll through. That is essentially, how does concrete canoe work? How does concrete canoe work, and a little bit about the technicality of it. So for those wondering what actually goes into a concrete canoe, we actually still use standard concrete products, just with more of an innovative usage than what you might see in standard stuff in the real world. Starting with our lightweight aggregates, a really common one that we use is from a company called Pour Over, which is an expanded glass aggregate bubble product that we use to really lower the unit weight of our concrete while still maintaining higher strength. We use standard cementitious materials, but we blend them a lot more creatively. A really not fancy, but different product that more teams are starting to use now is as we're trying to lower our Portland cement usage to decrease CO2 emissions from the teams and just overall usage of those types of products. We're adding hydrated lime into our products nowadays to still allow us to make strength while using less Portland cement. And then lastly, we have to increase tensile strength in the canoe in some way, because it is a concrete canoe and it's pretty difficult to put actual steel in there while maintaining still a pretty lightweight canoe. And so we like to add in fibers that we disperse throughout the canoe to create a random matrix of tensile reinforcement throughout the canoe, because it does get loaded in some pretty awkward scenarios when you're lifting it up in the air, putting it in water, putting multiple people in the canoe, up to 4 people at a time. So when we build a canoe every single year, we have 2 different labs we make a canoe in. We will mix all of our products in one lab, and then we'll place the concrete in the actual canoe mold in another lab. I've got 2 pictures here. The one on the left is showing our team this past year mixing up concrete for our canoe that we had, Prospector, that I have some more pictures on later, mixing up the concrete. And then on the right, we've got a picture of some team members placing concrete into our mold from last year. So when a canoe is all said and done, this was a picture of our team at the end of Pour Day this past January, I believe, when all of our team members got together in the lab and our canoe was hiding out there under the tarp, just beginning its curing journey of 28 days before we take it to competition. So some pictures of our canoe Prospector when we had it out of the water. right here at competition, which was at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs this year. We placed first. We were the Rocky Mountain Regional Champions and are defending this year. We went ahead and we took this canoe onwards to the national competition in Platteville, Wisconsin, where we placed 11th place nationally. And we were actually able to paddle the canoe because the weather was warm enough in June. So our goals for this coming year, our canoe this year tentatively is named Folsom. It's inspired by Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues. Here's a picture or some renderings of what we're expecting our canoe to look like this year with a blue and white prison-inspired uniform. So our regional competition is in late April in Laramie, Wyoming. Fingers crossed that there's not ice on the lake still when it comes to that time. There was this past year, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. And our national competition is in June in Provo, Utah, Brigham Young University. So in terms of outreach and involvement, things that our team is involved in on campus and in town. So we love to go and take our canoe out for lake days, where we actually do take concrete canoes out to the lake. This particular picture in the bottom right is of our advisor and a team member out in Sheridan Lake last year. In the top right, you'll see our team tailgating at football games because we absolutely love to go and do that and support the Hard Rocker football team. And on the bottom left, there's a picture of us doing Paint the Town during Homecoming Week, which is an event that we participate in every year along with all the other student organizations on campus. So if you're someone that's interested in possibly helping out or reaching out to the canoe team to see how you might be able to support us, the number one way you can contact us is through our email. We're very responsive there at concrete.canoe@minds. So the biggest things that we need help with every year, transportation and lodging. The cost of traveling to and from regional and national competitions is pretty high, and it's something we fundraise for every single year. The dyes and the pigments that go into our concrete are something we're really not able to get donated. And depending on what pigment or color we're looking for, if it's not that natural of a color, they can get really expensive. So that's something we always are looking for help with. And lastly, the actual mold itself that we place our concrete in to make the shape of the canoe is something that we used to be able to get donated, but it is becoming harder and harder to actually find companies that are able to do that. So now we're having to fundraise and reach out to different companies, and that's become our number one expense now from year to year. So I'll go ahead and say thank you, everyone, for your time, and we'll be open to some questions. And yeah, if you, like I said, if you want to reach us, you can reach us at concrete.canoe@minds.sdsmt for email, and you can go ahead and follow us on social media. Our Instagram is at @SDMindsCanoe. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ben. I want to stop in here real quick and ask you a quick question. Will
Yeah.
you guys be participating in our Giving Tuesday? Will the Concrete Canoe be part of Giving Tuesday, or did Dr. Stone, is it all of civil? We're going to be having different groups.
I don't know anything in particular about that event at the moment.
Okay.
Our fundraising chair on the team might know something else about it, but I can't answer that.
Well, alumni, be looking out for Giving Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. After Cyber Monday is Giving Tuesday, and we will be throwing a whole bunch of information at you through our social media on different groups on campus, everything from our Teoshpe group to music group to different groups on campus to be able to help them do some crowd fundraising for different events. So thank you again. I'll give it back to you, Dr. Stone.
Thank you. I guess next up, we've got Gabe to talk about Steel Bridge. And while he gets things loaded up there, the Giving Tuesday, I think you can actually put these teams into categories for donations that are on there. So if you're thinking about that, I think both of these organizations would love to get some contributions and some help. Things have got more expensive and more challenging. All right, Gabe, can you do it?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Papiernik, and I am one of the co-captains for the Steel Bridge team this year, as well as ASCE Vice President. So first off, what is Steel Bridge? Each year we get a competition rule set that is about 55 pages long. So we go through that the day after Labor Day, and we read all the rules, ensure that we know it through and through. And then we model a few bridges in a program called STAD that allows us to analyze it structurally and come up with a good design that has limited deflection at a lower weight. And then once we get that done, we order steel and go into fabrication, which is the bulk of what we do. The bridge is completely designed and fabricated here on campus. Once we have it completely fabricated. We do build practice because we need to be able to construct the bridge quickly at competition. It's one of the main virtual costs associated with the bridge. And then at competition, which is in Laramie, Wyoming this year, along with Concrete Canoe and ASCE, we load it with 2,500 pounds, and the deflection is measured at multiple points along the span. Who we are as a team includes about 25 people right now. We'd like to do a lot of outreach. We did the pumpkin chunkin competition, as well as paint the town, and we're involved in camp. So that'd be things like the 8th grade career fair. We're very integrated as a team. The bottom picture is us actually at the Hoover Dam on our way to nationals last year. We took a quick pit stop because it was along the way, and we thought that we should see one of the great civil engineering wonders of the world. We pride ourselves on being professional and enthusiastic at our competitions, and we were fortunate enough to win the Spirit of the Competition Award at national competition last year in San Diego, California. That was the first year that it was ever released, and so we're really proud to bring that home to South Dakota Mines. As far as results last year go, we placed first at a regional competition at the Air Force Academy, scoring first in every single category except for aesthetics. And then at the national competition, we got 13th out of 43 teams, getting second in cost estimation, third in construction speed, third in lightness. Those were our main takeaways there. We have pictures of our teams with our awards in the bottom there. As far as bridge this year goes, it is about 21 feet long with an 8-foot river in the middle where no one is allowed to enter except for a builder designated as a barge. So they are allowed to go into the water to construct the bridge, but the general builders are not. As far as envelope goes, it has a maximum height of 2'6" and stringer height of 1'11". So that brings us into our current design, which is a 3-dimensional truss that takes the load and takes it from the deck and puts it into the truss on the side of the bridge and carries it to the legs in a surprisingly efficient manner. We're looking forward to being able to compete this year. We think that we'll do better than last year, at least, is our hope. So we're eager to bring home some more awards from nationals this year and kind of help build more of a legacy around the Steel Bridge team. If you need to contact us, we have just about every social media out there, as well as a school assigned email, and my phone number and the other co-captain's phone number are also listed on this slide. I'll also talk a little bit about the American Society of Civil Engineering chapter here at South Dakota Mines. So what have we been doing? We've been trying to focus on community outreach. The bottom left picture there is a picture of us doing what we called Construction at one of the local elementary schools. They sponsored a food drive, and then we helped the students there build small structures out of the cans that they raised, and then all of that got donated to Feeding South Dakota afterwards. The top middle picture is a trip that we got to go to Nucor, Nebraska. We got to tour the steel mill there, and that was sponsored by Nucor, which was really cool. It's fun to see how that side of civil engineering works. Every year we put the plaque on M Hill, which I know a lot of you are on. So it's always nice to go up there and see all the names and kind of continue that legacy of having all of the graduates up on M Hill. And on the bottom right, we have a trip to Pierre that Dr. Stone invited a couple of us out to. Last February, we went out and helped kind of explain what the civil engineering department does and help try to raise funds for the school. So that was really fun. If you need to contact the ASCE chapter, then the email is asce@mines.student@sdsmt.edu. If any of you would want to be a speaker I know a lot of you have been out in industry. We love industry speakers at our ASCE meetings. So if any of you would be able to join either in person or virtually via Zoom, we'd love to have you. Please just reach out to that. Another fun upcoming thing for ASCE is we actually have the national ASCE president coming to one of our meetings on November 30th. That's Marcia, who is a Rapid City native and went to school at SDSU. So wrong side of the state there, but it should be a great meeting and we look forward to having her. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. Perfect. All right. Let's see if I can share my screen now. So share screen one, share, put this up. All right, so that's an overview of our student organizations here in our department. And so now let's kind of give an overview of what's going on in the civil and environmental department. Again, most of you, I think, are familiar with this, but our expertise and what we do in our department, what we're training our future engineers to do: environmental engineering, water resources engineering, geotechnical engineering, structural engineering. And then on that, an umbrella, what we'll call sustainable engineering. And so we've got faculty expertise in those areas. We're also doing a bit of highway engineering, so looking at that. And so we've got some searches and things that are going on where we're going to try to bolster these areas up a bit. So got great placement. This is a little bit older data, but job placement usually about 95 to 98%, if not more. I think last time we actually got 100%. In our department, salaries are actually quite a bit higher than what's shown right here at the moment. From what I've been talking to students, it's been quite robust, quite good opportunities for placement, especially the students that are doing internships. The salaries are much higher than this, and many of our students are doing internships as well in our department. Our flow chart. So this is our current curriculum flow chart that we set up for our civil engineering general focus. This has been in place for, I believe, 2 years, and some of the new additions that are a little different than before. We used to have a surveying and a CAD class, and so we've kind of combined those into a Geomatics 1 and Geomatics 2 classes, where one is collecting field work with various methods, all the way from traditional GPS units to drones, LiDAR scans and whatnot. And then the other one is typically in the spring semester, when it's more difficult to get field work, at least here in Rapid City, is working with the data. So GIS, Civil 3D, those attributes. And so instead of collecting 40 or 50 data points that the students historically have done with surveying, now you're like, you have millions of data points. And so how do you work with that data? And that's kind of the modern tools that we have in our curriculum. Engineering, construction engineering and management has been moved up to the sophomore level because we're seeing a lot of our students are doing internships a lot in the construction area, and so learning more about scheduling and those type of attributes are quite important. And we've got intro to sustainable design as well. That's a required class in our curriculum. Got a proposed one that we're trying to implement starting next academic year for the students that are coming on board. A couple of small little changes that are on here. So we got intro to sustainable design moved up to the sophomore level. We've got a required highway engineering course that would be a requirement in our track. So when doing the 3 out of 4 classes here, that junior year spring semester, also the highway engineering, added a department approved elective, another class, so you can dive a little deeper in there. And then our faculty thought that it would be great to essentially select one of 3 of these classes here to kind of get you better skill sets for tomorrow's workforce, working with big data, looking at data analysis. Also the geology for engineers is there, and then programming. We're seeing a lot of demand for engineers that can do some programming in different areas, learning new languages, because that is the future workforce. And so we've got that as selecting whichever course you think is going to fit in your direction. And then we've got our environmental engineering specialization. So this would be the equivalent of a BS environmental engineering that you'll see at a lot of other schools. And so we've got some chemi classes that are here: intro to environmental 1, 2, water treatment, wastewater treatment, I had quite a few students that have taken the Fundamentals of Engineering FE exam for environmental engineering quite successfully. So this program is working quite well. And we're currently working on a couple small changes to get geomatics into this and also some more electives into this curriculum that we're hoping will start next academic year. So enrollment trends, this is kind of models what's happening nationwide. There seems to be a less interest in civil engineering that we had. Most universities across the US had a big peak in the mid 2010s thereabouts, and it's kind of dropped off. We've kind of leveled out in this, our we currently have 190 students in our civil engineering program here. And I think we're working to change this, and there's a lot of initiatives, and I think we're seeing a lot of interest with our prospective student visits, students that are coming here to School of Mines, that this is going to continue to grow as we kind of reverse this trend up here, because the workforce is in, there's a great demand for our graduates in civil and environmental engineering, kind of working on the infrastructure of what tomorrow is going to be. And there's going to be lots of opportunities. We just got to get that out to these prospective students here as the opportunities that you can do in this workforce. And again, I mentioned this nationwide decline. I mean, look at enrollments at University of Nebraska are kind of dropping down. Montana State, they started in environmental engineering. So that's kind of, they've lost a whole bunch in civil, but they've gone into the environmental side. University of Michigan, Memphis, it's kind of the same trends that you're seeing across the board, is kind of a decrease in enrollment in these areas there. So we're looking as a group as a whole is trying to reverse these trends and look at strategies to get more students into this workforce of tomorrow that we're going to need. Graduate enrollment trends, we're doing pretty well. So we've started a doctorate program in 2013, 2014. And so we've had that grow, remain pretty steady in there. And then we've got a lot of interest with our accelerated master's non-thesis option for the master's students, where you can take 9 credit hours and double count those. And so we're seeing a lot of students that are moving that direction. The current job market as it is, we're seeing a lot of students get accepted into it, but then taking jobs. But you can finish all your courses, all your courses remotely, if need be, at the graduate level, because COVID has taught us to teach classes online on Zoom effectively, or at least hybrid options. So we're seeing a lot of students that are moving that direction as well. Just this past weekend, I hosted all of our thesis or most of our thesis dissertation graduate students. I had them at my house for some good food. So we've got a nice, robust, good group of folks that are doing some amazing work in our program. Got a new initiative kind of celebrating that junior year. And so those of you on here might remember that, that junior fall semester where we had a whole bunch of labs that were associated in that. And so to celebrate that, similar to what the medical professions and nursing programs do with a white coat ceremony, we've got the hard hat ceremony. And so this was last fall, had this with our junior students. And so we just started it. We said, well, we should get our senior students also involved with this. So we have a hard hat ceremony for them that we did at the same time. Got this coming up in a couple of weeks. I think we've got it in one of our core and civil classes where we're going to be doing this and bringing some food into that. And so students are quite excited about that, saying, hey, you've successfully made it into that, completed that junior fall semester term. So it's some other basic news here before I go on a tour of our spaces here. So Jungtam Kim is our new geotech faculty hire. And then we've had a lot of successes. Tao Ye, environmental, he's got a whole bunch of NSF, National Science Foundation grants he just received. Brett Lingwall working with critical minerals. Stu Geza, he just got a USGS 104G grant working on groundwater recharge. Ramada Gadamshetty's been working on a NSF Engineering Research Center. It's essentially leading a $30 million effort over 10 years. That's going to be an enormous thing if that's selected there. Heidi working on some applied life cycle assessment sustainability work. Chris Shear got some DOE DARPA funding. And Mark Robinson with some USDA Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe projects. So a lot of neat things that are happening there. And we've got a couple searches as well, and that filling some voids in our department. So let's take a tour now and see what we've got going on in our spaces here. So there's been some transformative things that have been happening in our spaces. So let's open up the door, come into the first floor. You can kind of see this is our gateway, our offices. So kind of modernize some things, got some new spaces that are there for welcoming guests. On Friday mornings, we have free food Fridays for our students as they come in and mingle, have a good time. Here's from Halloween, just last Friday. So these are some cupcakes made, and you might recognize some of the names that are on here. Those of you obviously are engineers. So the Tinius Olson is on there, and the Darcy Weisbach Crazen for groundwater flow. So lots of neat things that are happening. Students really enjoyed this one in particular. My space, I was asked to get that modernized as well. So my office, got some clean, neat, got the Hard Rocker blue in the background and whatnot. So if you're ever around, come on by and let's chat. Got a nice seat for you. And right outside our office, we've got kind of some branding. So I'm trying to kind of rebrand a lot of the things that are going on in our building, in the civil mechanical building in these areas. So lots of kind of explain what our department is, what we can focus on, what are opportunities. Then remodeled the environmental engineering lab. So this is a more modern space. It's kind of a combined teaching and research space. Labs are usually in the spring semester, and then otherwise it's a whole bunch of lab-based research that's going on with our environmental faculty. And so modern hoods, connections, things are in place there. Then we're coming up to the second floor. And so I've been getting a lot of posters and things from companies that have been put in place. I'm going to get these more kind of streamlined and kind of same themes there with some sponsored spaces. But this is South Dakota's first divergent diamond interchange. They got this from the South Dakota DOT. So students can kind of walk through and kind of say, hey, how do I drive through this? And this is up on La Crosse Street here in Rapid City as it crosses the interstate on I-90. And so kind of got that. And so I do see a lot of students kind of going through and kind of seeing how this might work in these areas. Got some sponsorship in our geotech lab from Bioflex, and so got some wraps here to get some better branding, kind of talking about the liners and types of things that might be utilized in geotechnical applications in our space. Then we also in our spaces, we got a lot of posters that kind of talk about our different programs, and I got some different branding that's going to be happening in these areas here. And then the COIL lab, or the COIL students, COIL lounge for the students has been repurposed, redone. This was during the, late summer, early fall, kind of making some more drop-in study spaces for students to utilize. If I remember, Gabe, I think, was in one of these spaces. We just put in the chairs yesterday. So kind of chopped it up. And so now we got some reservable spaces that are there for the students. Kind of walk in, and I got some furniture coming mid-November. This was in collaboration with mechanical engineering to kind of get some more spaces for students to utilize here. And so we got monitors, whiteboards, drop-in spaces, and then a space out here is going to be a bunch of couches and chairs and kind of social areas for the students to hang out in between classes and catch up with folks, work on some work. And yeah, here's another example of some of the spaces that are in there inside. So we got 8 of these there. Yep, and then here's kind of the layout of the couches and chairs and things that would be there for the students to utilize. And so this will give them an opportunity so they don't have to, let's say, hustle down to the library in between classes. They can actually hang out in our building and, and collaborate and do some things. So now we open up that door where that Bioflex branding is, and now we've got the geotechnical engineering space that's on here. And so this has also been modernized. So we got gas and water and air that's connected and piped through here. We got some digital displays, so you can actually put some instructions for the labs that will be up on the whiteboard on the side there. And then again, with our mantra of hands-on learning experiences in all of our labs, it's definitely is part of that process. Then in the background, we've got a lot of research-related instrumentation that's also utilized in several of the lab courses as well. So the students get opportunities to work with a number of different types of applications that they might see in the real world and get that experience in our curriculum. And we move over to the RAMA lab, our materials lab. And so this was also modernized. Bench spaces off to the right here would be some lockers in this area. And so this was heavily used earlier this semester with the civil engineering materials lab, concrete mixes and whatnot. And then, of course, the infamous Tinius Olson that a number of you, when I take tours and folks from long ago, it's still working. We have got this modernized with a digital controller that's on here. This is one of our core bread and butter kind of tensile strength applications that are utilized for a lot of our testing that we do. And then we also set up a water resources lab. It used to be up on the third floor, civil mechanical, brought that down into the back area of our integrated lab space. And so we've got flume table, sediment transport. Looks like the flume is over here. We've got Stu Gaza's got a number of different groundwater modeling simulations and tanks that are there with some water sensors that are in place, and the pumping and piping apparatuses here as well. And we kind of pivot, turn the corner here a little bit, and we have, so we've got our welding. This is where the steel bridge, all the magic happens for the competitions. And then also our freshman class, there's some options to build bridges and trusses that they're going to use to test different strengths of materials as well. So again, a lot of hands-on applications, and our technician Mandy just put these together, worked on these back in the summer, and got this all looking really nice with different tools that are there for the students to utilize. Then we kind of go around the corner there, and then we've got a new freshman space and also our geomatics space combined. And so this is kind of a nice area that was just kind of a storage area, maybe a little bit of research that was going. Now we've got this integrated as a real classroom. And so we've got pull down electrical cords for our students who have our tablet PCs. Obviously, always need to charge those up, seems like. And then we've got some lockers off to the left here, and we've got a whole bunch of drones that are for part of this geomatics application of collecting data. And so this space turned out really nicely. Last week when I came by and took these pictures, there was a big old pile of dirt. I didn't quite get the explanation of what's going on with this, but more hands-on opportunities. And we've got a computer bank here. So now when you're working with millions of data points that are coming in, you're going to need some high-power computers to process these. So beyond what the students have in their laptops. So we've got this, I guess, 4 workstations that are set up to run a lot of the software that we have set up there. And then drones. Yeah, this is one of our larger drones. A student just got back from flying, doing some scans on the hillside to look at slope stability issues that we're having back there. And so this is one of our main tools that we're using. And it's got a bunch of different thermal and LiDAR and imaging scans or lenses that are put onto this as it flies through those spaces. Then we also added some windows to the back of this. So this is the back of the civil mechanical lab space. And so some windows were put into this area, let some natural light in, and this space really turned out quite nicely. So now lastly, we'll take a tour up to the 3rd floor. And so this is kind of one of our open spaces. Still got some of these lockers around here, but I do have a plan to kind of turn these more into benches like what we have here in these areas. We've got grad student housing. So some of the rooms that are up in the 3rd floor, plus some of these areas are for postdocs and graduate students. So they've got spaces. So the department's now providing all the graduate students laptop computers, monitors, and things like that in their own spaces in between when they're doing some research stuff in the labs. And so this has turned out quite nicely. And then we also have some more drop-in meeting spaces. This is called the OWL, which is the old water lab that's up on the 3rd floor. And so this has been set up. Got 2 drop-in meeting spaces here, and then also some collaborative space that's in here as well. And I did leave the old chalkboards there for working on some things. And so typically this is hustle and bustle, I guess, especially during the morning, students in between classes working on stuff. And then these drop-in meeting spaces are heavily used for kind of group work activities that are going on in our areas. Lastly, up in the 3rd floor, we've got our classroom CM 310. This is one of our core classes that we do a lot of our teaching in. So 2 years ago, maybe it was a year ago or so, I put a continuous whiteboard in here, got dual displays. This room fits about 48 to 50 students that are in there. So one of our larger classrooms, and this is where a lot of our core civil classes are. Back in the day when I first started at Mines, this was more of a computer lab, if I recall. And then from what I understand, even before that, drafting room up in 310. So so we've kind of modernized this and done a lot of work there. So lastly, just talk a little bit about some of the strategic initiatives that we're doing in our department. So as department head, I'm trying to lead us into becoming something even better. And so we've obviously got some search committees. I got a professor of practice in the environmental and atmospheric sciences program that's going to be offering environmental sciences focused area. And then we've got 2 faculty searches. We've got a water resources search ongoing, and we have a sustainable engineering search that's going. Those are just getting started up. We've got some infrastructure curriculum, future curriculum updates. And so the task for this committee is to look at modernizing our curriculum even more. So what do we want to be in 5 years? And what would that curriculum look like that would better prepare our students for the workforce of tomorrow, the grand challenges that they're going to see. Also got infrastructure updates. So what do we want to do infrastructure wise? So it's different type of testing apparatuses and whatnot. What can we do? And then also been working on faculty workload and expectations and the AES program for growth. And the last slide I have on here is kind of we've been working with our professional advisory board. And this is one of the tasks that I've been working with them on, is to get better engagement with our faculty members in our department, to kind of provide some better real world training for the faculty members so they can then bring that into the classroom. A lot of the faculty these days, when they're hired, go straight through with the PhD, and some of them don't have a lot of professional experience, which I think can be quite invaluable in some ways. And this is a nationwide trend. And so what I've had is had a number of our faculty members kind of work with our advisory board companies to kind of learn more about what they're doing in their, what kind of projects are you doing? What kind of case studies can you bring into the classroom? And so I had a sustainability faculty member working with HDR on a lot of their sustainability initiatives, and about 80% of the projects that HDR does has a sustainability component associated with it. So I thought that was super important. And our atmospheric folks working with the HDR meteorology and what they do for infrastructure design. So designing things that are going to withstand the storms of tomorrow, the climate of tomorrow. And so been working with South Dakota DOT, Ferber, with some geomatics things, got a lot of legal things that go on in construction management. And I got Tallier working with Burns and McDonald on water and wastewater treatment projects that they're involved with. Stu Gaza working with RESPEC on some of the water resources projects that they're doing. And Romana, obviously, with the ERC collaborations. And so this has been great. We've had a number of guest speakers come in for these various companies, talk to our students, get them excited about the career paths of tomorrow and the grand challenges that they're going to have in that workforce. So with that, that's kind of where we're at currently with civil and environmental engineering at the end of 2023, or we're getting close to the end of the semester there. So I got midterms have already passed us, and final exams will be coming up here in early December. So with that, I can answer some questions that you all might have in this to me for civil and environmental.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. We did have one question. It was put in the chat, but if you have more questions out there, go ahead and use that Q&A section, and we'll give Dr. Stone and Gabe and Ben a chance to answer any of those. The one question we have right now is, and Gabe kind of mentioned it, was what kind of drones are your students working with? What brand are?
We've got DJI is one, and then Gabe or Ben, are you in that class right now? Or did you take, I think it's a Matrice drone, the larger one that had the picture on there, I think was a Matrice, and it's got a couple lenses that are on it. So that for that one, you have to have a drone pilot's license. And so the department has paid for a couple students to have licenses that can be able to fly it, because it's so large that it's FAA regulations require it to require licensing. And so we've got one faculty member and a couple of students that are licensed with that.
Are they able to fly on campus, or do they have to take it off campus to fly it?
Yeah, we can fly it on campus. We typically have to put in a we have to put in a flight path or plan with it. I think there's an application to do that. And I think FAA just changed its regulations about a month ago that you actually have to have some sort of signal that communicates with FAA, if I recall. One of the students advised me of this. And so we're working on trying to upfit our drones to make sure they're FAA compliant, because they just changed those recently, those requirements.
That's great. Well, I'm going to give you guys a minute more to throw in some more questions for Dr. Stone and the crew. I just want to remind everybody of some upcoming events that we have here on campus and off campus. So we have Veterans Day coming next week, and we are doing a Veterans Salute on the 7th of November, Tuesday. Starting at 10:30, we'll do the Veterans Salute, and then that rolls right into our chili feed, which is our Rich and Trudy Wells Veterans Center's fundraiser for the year. And so it's $5 to come on campus and try some chili, and that money all goes to the Veterans Club. We also, next week on the 9th, have our Thirsties lunch at 11:30 here in Rapid City. So we'd love to have you join us. And if you're working, we can get you in and out in an hour. Just let me know that you need to get out right away. And of course, we're going to be part of our Parade of Lights coming up at the 25th of November here in Rapid City. We'll have a whole watch area, so be looking at your emails for that. And Grubby will be there. So if you want to get your holiday photo with Grubby, come at 4 before the parade starts and you can get your picture with Grubby. All right, let's see. I don't see any other questions out there. I see a lot of really great comments in our chat for you guys. So wonderful job. I agree. You did very well. I want to
Oh,
thank
I
everyone.
see
Yeah.
a question. Yeah. So what
Oh,
is the
you did okay.
greatest challenge to the department? So I think it's preparing the workforce of tomorrow is the greatest challenge that we have, is we need to get more students interested in civil and environmental. We are actually a landing spot for quite a few internal South Dakota Mines transfers. We're kind of the go-to spot. So students stay here, you know, they might start out in mechanical, or they might start out in mining and then figure out, hey, you know, that's not exactly what I want to do. And we're a big landing spot. So last academic year, we had 17 internal transfers come to our department. So that's actually quite promising.
Great question. All right, so I don't see any more popping up there. I want to thank our alumni for coming out and hearing about our civil department. I want to thank Dr. Stone for presenting. You did a great job. I learned stuff today. I want to thank Ben and Gabe for not only just presenting for us today, but also leading your clubs on campus, because it's invaluable, the lessons you're learning in leadership and what you guys do. They both mentioned that they have their competitions in Wyoming this year. I will get that date and share it with our alumni community to see if you're nearby and you want to come out and cheer them on. We'd love to have you do that. I again want to let you know that this is going to be recorded and put on our Cara YouTube page, so feel free to share it. We'll send a follow-up email. I'll include the course flow chart. I saw a question for that. I'll go ahead and include that in there too. And if you do have any questions, reach out anytime. You can reach out to me. Ben and Gabe gave their emails, and Dr. Stone is Dr. James Stone at sdsmt.edu. I know any of us would love to answer any of your questions. I just thank you for your interest in our civil department and for your time today. And again, for all our veterans out there, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.